"I don't need a family," said the millionaire. 2 years later, he saw her with a child, and changed everything. It was the kind of rain that seemed to wash away more than just dust, like it was scrubbing the world clean of things people tried to forget. Sitting behind tinted glass in the back of his chauffeured car, Victor Langston barely noticed. He was scrolling through a report, untouched coffee cooling beside him. At 42, Victor had everything: private jets, penthouses in 3 cities, an empire built from scratch. Everything, that is, except people. Family. Love. Waste of time, he once told a journalist. You don't need hugs to build an empire. You need focus. And he meant it. Or at least, he thought he did. But the universe has a strange way of humbling the proud, often with the quietest moments. 2 years ago, Victor had fired half his staff after a single quarter's dip in profits. Among them was Emily Carson, a soft-spoken executive assistant who had worked loyally for 6 years. She had never asked for a raise, never taken a sick day, and always smiled even when no one smiled back. Victor didn't notice her leave. In fact, he never remembered her at all, until one cold December afternoon in the park. It had started as an aimless walk to kill time before a meeting. Central Park was dusted with snow, couples bundled together on benches, children laughing in icy gusts. Victor sat alone on a bench, watching it all with detachment, until he heard a child's laugh that tugged at something long buried. A little girl, no older than 5, was tossing breadcrumbs to birds. Her coat was too thin, her boots slightly too big. But her joy was radiant, unaffected and warm like sunshine. Behind her stood a woman, holding a thermos and smiling gently. Something about her felt familiar. Victor stared. It was Emily. For a moment, time stumbled. She looked thinner, a little worn, but peaceful, like someone who had finally let go of a heavy burden. The child ran up and hugged her legs, giggling. He didn't understand why it hit so hard. He didn't know this child. But something in the girl's eyes, a reflection, maybe, a softness, a light he hadn't seen in his own face for decades. Victor stood, unsure why. Emily. She turned, startled, but calm. Mr. Langston, she said softly. It's been a long time. He nodded, awkwardly. I didn't expect to see you here. He glanced at the child. Is she? My daughter, Emily said simply, placing a hand on the girl's shoulder. Her name's Grace. Victor blinked. I didn't know you had a child. I didn't. Not until a year ago, she said, smiling down at Grace. She's adopted. I found her at a shelter. They said no one wanted her. I did. Victor felt something stir in his chest, like guilt, or maybe envy. You left the company, he said. I mean, I let you go. Emily smiled. It was hard. But losing that job gave me something better. I found purpose. She knelt beside Grace and zipped up her coat tighter. I realized life isn't about climbing ladders. It's about holding hands. Victor watched them, frozen by a strange ache. He had money, influence, respect, but in that moment, he had never felt more alone. That night, he couldn't sleep. The image of Grace's smile haunted him. So did the peace on Emily's face. And the echo of his own words, I don't need a family. But what if he'd been wrong? Over the next few weeks, something shifted. Victor started small. He called his estranged sister for the first time in 12 years. He visited an orphanage he used to donate to but had never entered. He sat with a 9-year-old boy for 2 hours who just wanted to show him his drawings. And when Christmas came around, Victor did something unthinkable. He showed up at Emily's modest apartment, not with a business offer, but with a storybook and a stuffed bear. Grace opened the door, eyes wide. You're the man from the park, she said. Victor knelt. I am. And I brought something for you, if that's okay. Emily, standing behind her, didn't say a word. Just watched as Grace hugged Victor with a kind of love he had never earned, but somehow, still received. In the months that followed, Victor became a different man. Not overnight. But slowly. Intentionally. He mentored young people from broken homes. He sold one of his penthouses and donated the proceeds to build a family shelter. He visited Grace and Emily often, sometimes just to listen. One day, as they sat in the park again, Grace asleep on his shoulder, Victor looked at Emily. I used to think success meant being alone at the top. Now I think, maybe it's being surrounded at the bottom. With people who matter. Emily smiled. Maybe it's not about where you are. It's who's beside you. And Victor nodded, because for the first time in his life, he understood. Sometimes, family isn't what you're born into. It's what you choose to build, one act of kindness at a time.